Hey, HR friends, welcome back. So we made it to day 4. We're in the 3-2 emotional 6.5 day sequence, and these are the electromagnetics for this 6.5 day sequence. Okay. First person polarity moments, third person polarity moments, and combined polarity moments. And this white rectangle is showing you the 24-hour period for day 4, which is 6/30/2024 UTC time. Okay. Now, the good news is this. We've referenced this, the solstice, the last emotional sequence where the solstice had ended and the new sequence had started. That was crazy turbulent. This is nowhere close to that, and it's reflected. If you've been paying attention to the news, yeah, there have been some third person stuff going on, and yeah, there's been a little bit of stories and some weather, but this has really calmed down. Now, the electromagnetics are what's causing not only our social agitation and all the social conflict, but the higher these agitations are, the stronger the catastrophic and weather events that we've been experiencing. So here's the good news. Even though our weather is still seriously out of balance, at least right now we're getting some breathing room here. So we're really just going to focus on, for everybody who's watching here, to make sure that you understand when these polarity moments are going to happen. Now, you can see in this 24-hour period, there's some ups and downs here, nothing substantial. And even if we go back to the previous 24 hours, you can see that wasn't so bad either. So we've actually got a couple days here. If you look ahead, we can see the next day, so day 5, as well as almost through day 6 before we start to get some more elevation again. Now, remember, this is just like a tidal sequence. So what's happening here is the tide's coming in, it hits high tide, then the tide goes out till it hits low tide, and then it comes back in and it hits high tide again. That's how this works. That's the easiest way to describe this. All right, so last thing we're going to do before we roll down to objective is help you understand this. These polarity moments are agitating you from the inside out. These are the unseen agitations that activate our defensive design. Every single person on this earth has a defensive design. It's called the flight or fight mechanism. And these points are trying to get us to run away from our problems, or they're trying to create more problems by getting us to fight for our personal opinions. Now, let's move down here to the objective. You see, the objective is just mathematical. It has nothing to do with personal opinion. And what the mathematical objective is we are supposed to be getting along as an interconnected family. We are all connected to the same mathematics, okay? And because of that, we are expected to get along no matter where we are in life. So whether we're younger and don't have as much of experience, or whether we've gotten older and we're starting to accumulate experience, we are required to integrate our knowledge and our experience, and we're supposed to be trying to help the people around us communicate more clearly and cooperate within this interconnected family. So if any member of our family, whether it's in your bloodline, whether it's in your work, whether it's somebody on the other side of the world, if they are struggling in relationship, you would want to help them in order to focus on why it's important to not only try to mend that relationship, but to create a cooperative focus with the people in their life going forward. Well, what should we be cooperating to do? This is what we should be cooperating to do. Again, part of the mathematical objective. We're supposed to be not only getting along with each other, but we're supposed to be spending equal time investing in the 4 third person perspectives. This is what our routines would be on a day to day basis. So every single individual within this interconnected family should be equally dividing their time and their actions towards, well, what keeps all our families balanced? What keeps all individuals balanced? What keeps our world and our nation balanced? Now, I say this every time. It's obvious that our world and our nations are seriously out of balance right now, which indicates that we have all overinvested in individual and family strategy. And those individual and family strategies are not all aligned with one another. That's what's creating a ton of this conflict. Okay. So we're explaining this very clearly because if you want our larger reality that we share to start to get more pleasant again, both at the world and national level. And if we want these weather events to start to back down so they're not so extreme, then we have to start investing more in those strategies. Now, at the individual level, this is how this mathematical objective works. Each individual is judged or tested on their individual contributions. So whether someone else is doing this or not should not hinder you, because the second you decide to completely commit to trying to bring our interconnected family together, and the second the individual decides that they're going to change their current routines to make sure that they are equally investing in all 4 of these things, those individuals then are in perfect alignment with these testing frequencies. These are the frequencies that are testing if we're doing good on the relationships that are located on either side. So if you have a problem with any one of these quadrants, we'll specifically tell you exactly what relationships you're imbalanced in right now, which ones you want to expand, and which ones you want to spend more time on in your future routine strategies. It's that simple. Now, if you're hurting somewhere, then you'd want to document the time that you're hurting, and we can help you understand how to specifically invest in the specific part of that relationship that led to either that discomfort or that unpleasant experience that you were forced to endure. Okay, so now let's go down and let's talk about the 24-hour zoomed in. That's this white box here. That's what we're showing here for day 4. All right, so here's the zoomed in day 4. And what this does is it just brings all 24 time zones. So it allows every individual around the world to find their time zone offset. You just come down here, you find your time zone offset. Once you find it, you take a screenshot. Now, this is for people that don't have good internet, okay? Otherwise, as always, go to our homepage. On our homepage, we've got a live feed set to universal time. You don't have to find your time zone. You literally just have to open it up, and there's a time bar that shows you exactly where we are in this electromagnetic sequence. Just a quick review. 4 is the number we start to worry about. You can see in the combined, there are a couple places where we reach a 4 in the first 12 hours. In the second 12 hours, however, we reach a 4 and we go above it in a couple spots. So not a terrible, terrible day as far as how hard this is going to be. But I promise you, these agitations are constantly trying to get us to invest in conflict. So very important to know when this happens. Now, when we look at third person perspective, there's more agitation in the third person perspective going on in the first 12 hours. And then in the second 12 hours, we've got a lot more in the first person. I would be very concerned for people about the second 12-hour period here. So when you're around the people in your general sphere and these are up and elevated, what it's going to do is it's going to start to get you agitated and thinking about all the things that you're unhappy about with the people around you. And the truth is, you just haven't talked to them in a way and communicated them in a way so that you guys are on the same page. And the last thing you want to do is come at them defensively or aggressively when these moments hit. That's why we're showing you this stuff. All right, so let's keep moving here. So we do have some alignments today. It's not a terribly busy day, and it really doesn't get started until the end of the first 12 hour and the beginning of the second 12 hours, okay? So all our alignments are on the second half of this 24-hour sequence for the most part. And the alignments we're going to talk about here first is we're going to talk about the MEs. And you see that they're happening on top of each other, so we're going to tackle them at the same time. The space one is an hour and a half, and the time one is 3.25 hours. And they're going to go to different areas. So on the space side, this is going to increase test load on lower left quadrant. And on the time side, it's going to increase test load on the upper right quadrant. If you have notable issues where you feel something unpleasant during these times, you want to document it, and then you'd want to use our technology to know exactly what relationship imbalances created either the discomfort in your body, the amplification of the symptoms of what you're currently suffering with, or the unpleasant experience that you had during this time. Now, these specifically outline when there are frequency amplifications. Frequency amplifications make it easy for us to show you how this biofeedback system works, because without these, it kind of feels like things are everywhere. But when we have these alignments to focus on, we can really pinpoint it to the time of the day that someone is going to experience this, which makes it undeniable what the heck is causing either their pain or their unpleasantness. Okay. All right. So we've got one more to talk about here, and it's this bottom one. It's this PE. This is an hour and a half. And really, there's 2 hour and a half ones back to back here. Okay. Now, this one's probably going to cause people some issues because this is that green color. We talk about the yellow and green colors because they're the tougher colors. The yellow and green have to do with more maturing perspectives, which mean you're spending more routine or balancing your routine, making sure that you're helping at the national and world level, and also that you're communicating and that you're in better leadership for our interconnected team members. You see, mothers and fathers just have more experience. So they're going to be naturally the leaders of our family, our interconnected family team. So there are a lot of people that are struggling with this one. How do we know? Again, look around the world. Our national and world is out of balance. Why is this? Because as maturing individuals, we have not invested enough time to make this a priority for ourselves. So really pay attention at the end of this 12-hour segment. If you get headaches, sinus problems, if concentration for people who are struggling with memory disorders, if concentration is really affected at this time, this would be a huge indicator of what's advancing those conditions and how we could slow them down just by understanding how this works. All right. That's it for the alignments here. Now, let's move down and we're going to talk about where the macros are aligned today. And I don't even have to say it, you can see it. It is pretty balanced here from side to side, meaning even though first person's all on the left and even though third person is mostly all on the right, both sides of the body are going to be tested heavily today. Okay. So any part of the body today, it is likely that you could feel it. Now, the macros are the strongest 10 frequencies that we're going to experience in this 24-hour sequence. There are many, many frequencies that are going to happen here, but these are the strongest ones. This is where it's parked. Now, if you have left-sided pain in this 24-hour period, it means your first person perspectives are out of balance. If you have right-sided pain in this 24-hour segment, it means your third person perspectives are out of balance. And in truth, you have to understand both the first person and the third person perspective to be in balance. So really, this left side, meaning first person, it just tells you where you need to focus. You need to focus more on your feminine relationships. And in the third person, this would say you need to focus more on your masculine relationships with those colors. Okay, now when we look at the testing sequence here, again, 4 is the number we're concerned with, and we can see that every single quadrant of the body at some point during this 24-hour segment is going to have at least reach a level 4. This means if I was in practice, I say this all the time, this is going to be a day where people have all kinds of stuff going on. Going to be lower quadrant stuff, upper quadrant stuff. All in all, the entire body's being tested. All right. That gives you a pretty good indicator of what's going on here for the next 24 hours. And as always, we really need to keep investing in part one of the strategy is not being duped by the unseen pattern of chaos here. Okay. This organized pattern of chaos is trying to get us to fight with one another. We got to overcome that. Once we overcome this, we cannot ignore our responsibilities to bring our family together and to bring our family together with a common purpose to create balanced future routine that makes this better for all of us. That's how we're ending here today. We'll see you next forecast. See you then. Bye.